Okay guys, so as we all know, Burmas has recently taken over the distributorship of the Peugeot brand. For the first time, we have now taken a Peugeot test car from the same people that usually hands us Mazdas. Let's see what's new here. You know, as I was doing my research before starting this review, I was surprised to learn that this second generation 3008 is already 5 years old. It made its global debut in 2016 and it arrived here in Malaysia, I think sometime around 2017 or 2018. But you know, such was the success of Peugeot's styling effort that even today, 5 years on, this car still looks rather fresh. Okay, and well, I've actually reviewed this car. We featured this car a couple of times since there was one video I filmed in 2017 and a walk around of the facelift in 2019, and you know, this time around there's not really a change in the car but rather a change in the distributorship. So I am actually rather tempted to just recycle my footages from my previous reviews and call it a day. I mean, it can't be that different, right? The 3008 is powered by a carryover engine, the 1.6 litre twin screw turbocharged Prince engine. No, just kidding. But that being said, the 3008 is mechanically indeed unchanged from before. It's still the same 1.6 litre Prince engine paired to a 6-speed automatic transmission driving the front wheels. Now, I have to say, the car overall, the overall refinement, the execution does feel smoother, better refined than what I recall from the previous unit that I test drive. And this definitely, we can attribute this to the continuous incremental running improvements that car makers always make with successive manufacturing years. Sometimes it's so small, so subtle, they don't see a point of announcing it, of communicating it, but it's there. And you know, after 4 or 5 years of small but continuous improvements, you can feel there is that difference in the driving experience. Now, see, right now, as I am traversing slow-moving traffic, congested traffic here on the LDP, immediately one thing I notice is that the low-speed smoothness of the transmission, well, of course, this has always been a good point of torque converter automatic transmissions, but you see, the thing is that this is the kind of driving conditions where you are always brake, throttle, right? Sometimes you have to speed up, sometimes you have to slow down. There's a lot of, you know, acceleration and deceleration going on, and this is the kind of driving conditions that really exposes the any mishaps, any lacking in the fine-tuning of the car. This is the kind of conditions that showcase true finesse in tuning, and I have to say, this 3008 is very, very well tuned. The throttle response, I have to say, is immediate, and I am drawing this comparison against my S-Max that has a more powerful 2-litre engine, also a 6-speed automatic transmission. But my S-Max, in this kind of driving conditions, if I put it in D, all right, many a times the engine, because of the well, less than perfect calibration of the transmission, is very easily caught off boost in, you know, in congested driving conditions. But here, this 3008, you know, every time when I step on the throttle, all right, there is an immediacy in its response. When you step on it, immediately there is a change in the car's velocity, in the car's, you know, rate of progress. Just similarly as well, when I step on the brakes, the response is linear and predictable. And that, you know, because these are the kind of conditions that we drive the car in every day, it makes the driving, the day-to-day driving experience a lot more pleasant. Now, the dynamics of this car. Now, you see, the suspension of the 3008 here, if you compare it with other segment contenders, the Tiguan, the CR-V, the CX-5, all the 150, 160K SUVs, the 3008 here immediately starts off on a disadvantaged footing, because it is the only one in this price point with a rear torsion beam. Everything else is on multi-link rear suspension, and this is where we have to say kudos to Peugeot for, you know, for getting their tuning right. Okay, so now I'm going up exiting LDP, going to Panchala Link, all right, and making a hard bend. Okay, so handling is sharp, okay, and usually in this kind of driving conditions, a car with a rear torsion beam, the rear end tends to be a bit more playful. Now, the thing is this, with it's all, when it comes to suspension, right? Yes, independent rear suspension, there is an inherent advantage in terms of cornering stability. But at the end of the day, many a times, it's the tuning that makes it, that ultimately decides on the driving experience. The Mazda 3, for example, the latest generation Mazda 3, with a rear torsion beam, well, around the bends, it's not as sure-footed as a Toyota Corolla with rear double wishbones. But Mazda used that to their advantage, all right? That, you know, that one thing that you can do with a torsion beam car is that you can enable that playfulness of the rear to make the rear step out ever so slightly, that you can point your car point the nose into the corner sharper. Okay, now that's not, of course, perhaps not the kind of driving characteristics that you really want in a family SUV, but nevertheless, the 3008 here proves to be rather competent handling around the bends. Okay, so now I've got a bit more open road to step on it, and this is the kind of you know, open road driving, harder acceleration. When you open the throttle a bit more, okay, this is when you expose a little that this is, at the end of the day, a downsized engine. At the end of the day, a rival with a 2-liter turbo will definitely feel a lot more effortless when you want to make hard acceleration. But, you know, for 90%, 80% of drivers out there, the performance on offer, the dynamic stability of what Peugeot has here, definitely more than good enough. And the comfort level is also rather well judged. You go over poor surfaces, the 3008, it rides very nicely. So if I were to sum up the driving experience of the 3008 here, is that this is a car, right? The overall setup of this car is well judged and well tuned for pleasant day-to-day use. So I just discovered the sport mode on the center console, and not only did it trigger a more aggressive mapping of the transmission shifting program, but also it's gotten the speakers to to play a more aggressive engine note whenever you rev up the engine. It's obviously played from the speakers, because when in idle, the engine note is gone. It's only when you step on the throttle. A bit hilarious lah, a bit hilarious.
When I switched to Pro mileage, in my case, I got 46-47% of savings for that car.
Pro mileage was the only one that gave me 5,000 extra value to cover, yet still cheaper, a lot less. Turn up!
Okay guys, so this is the exterior of the 3008. It's still the same familiar look that we have seen before, but as I said earlier on, it is testament to the success of Peugeot's original design that even as a 5-year-old model, well, a bit with a facelift, it still looks fresh, it still looks modern. This hardly looks like anything that was introduced more than a year or two ago. So overall, kudos to Peugeot, a very, very well executed design. I mean, if you compare this next to all the other entries in the segment right now, the 3008 here, it still is the most advanced looking, it's still the most Change looking. All right, if you compare this with the Volkswagen Tiguan, the CX-5, the CR-V, this 3008 here, it still has a certain, there's still that element of edginess in its design that the other segment contenders do not have. Okay, yeah, so right now in Malaysia, all right, under Burmas, they are only offering one variant of the 3008 here, which is, this is the Allure model. It's priced at 158,000 ringgit. Let's look into the details again. So the front end, well, this, we start with the grille. You can see that there's a concave shape to the grille here. Okay, the headlights, these are LEDs. Now this is with the daytime running lights switched on. Okay, so now I switched on the left signal light. The right daytime running light, it's still illuminating with the same intensity. The left light, well, it's not really flickering, but you know, it is the effect of the LEDs being dimmed, and it show the way it shows in camera, right? So this one is not, the LED daytime running light on this side has dimmed, okay, and the signal light, okay, it is actually a different strip, okay, that runs above. You see, the thing is that in most other more expensive makes, right, the common solution is to integrate the signal light and the daytime running light into one, right? So what will happen is that this instead of this dimming, this whole thing would have just turned orange and it would have flicked, you know, in a sequential fashion. So this is obviously a slightly lower cost approach, but as I've mentioned before in my previous videos, kudos to Peugeot for actually taking the effort to try and make this lower cost approach appear high value. Make no mistake, you see the way this headlight is shaped, okay, this kink here, okay, this adds complexity to the entire headlight assembly, and not exactly easy to get right in, you know, with regards to the fit and finish, you know, of matching the bumper mold, this whole bumper molding. You see the way this bumper is molded, this piece up here and this piece like this, right, to get this to fit with precision, all right, that one also takes effort, it also takes cost. You can see down there how all the elements nicely interplay with each other. There's the scuff, there's the scuff plate down here, the satin chrome scuff plate down here. This is the ADAS radar module, all right, with the camera up there. Okay, and you can come here and see 18-inch alloy wheels, and to really give the SUV positioning, even though the underpinnings of this 3008 here is basically the same as a 308. They have given that, you know, the underbody claddings there to reinforce that appearance of ruggedness to this car. The window lines, okay, it's not a conventionally shaped window line. There's some interplay, crisscross of lines. There's this satin chrome element up here. Okay, so overall they have put in fantastic effort in the design, and see there's two character lines here as well to accentuate the rear section of the body. But the thing with Peugeot is that they have tried to give it an edginess to the design, but they have not overdone it. So from a design standpoint, I can't say this enough, the 3008 is really well executed overall. Okay, so you come to the rear, the 3-bar tail light design down here, all right, and this whole rear manages to successfully blend chunkiness and sophistication into one cohesive look. So this is very nice. Okay, let's pop the tailgate. Got powered opening, and so here's a look at the boot. Now you can pull to release, to drop the split folding seats. Now that's being held by the headrest over there. We'll fix that later. 12-volt socket, cabin light. All right, here is a compartment here for you to drop things in there. All right, so you can lift this up. Okay, underneath is the spare tire. All right, so the idea is this. Okay, this is a two-layered, two-level floor. So you can put this up here at this higher level to give you a fully flat loading floor all the way to the end there as you drop your seats, or you want to increase the luggage height, you can drop this down. Okay, that gives you more luggage height. And what's more, when this is up here, if let's say you would need access to this space down here, you see these notches here, it holds this boot floor up here while you access your spare tire or whatnot. Now this is removable, and you see this string here that holds this tonneau cover, it's elastic. All right, it's elastic. So let's close this, and there's also hands-free closing. Yeah. Boom. Okay, so come here. All right, so as this drops, you can see this is a nice flat loading floor here, very well executed. Okay, and you can see when this drops, the seat cushion actually moves a little to accommodate, to enable this floor to be seamless. And they have also put this part here is velcroed, just so that when you load things here, things don't drop inside here under the seat. It drops here, it's fine, because if it drops here, you can just open this cover and you can access it. But if it drops here, a bit more mafan to want to extract those things out. All right, now I'm going to go over to the other side. Now this seat cushion pattern, not entirely to my liking, to be honest, but well, you see this, the length of the bench is good thigh support. It's a good angle also, so you get good thigh support here, good lean angle here, and you got armrest here with pop-up cup holders, rear aircon vent. This is a USB port. All right, so leg room here is fantastic, good flat floor, and there is the cabin light here. Now this is very cleverly angled, because the thing is, when you are seated here, you need to illuminate this area, right? The light shines at you illuminates at you from behind, so it gives you the illumination, it gives you the light without glaring you, so that's great. Now we come inside to the front. Now as you can see, this is a quirkiness of Peugeot. When you sit here, the instrument cluster is seen over the steering rather than through the steering. Peugeot is the only car maker that is currently practicing this. Okay, and well, this cabin we have seen many times before, so I'm not going to dive too much into the details, but I just have to say one thing. I never get tired of seeing this denim trim inserts. Peugeot is the only one that does this, and this is daring. This is overall a very daringly executed cabin design. Not perfect, of course. You can see this piece here. Okay, basically Peugeot does not have the advanced construction techniques as some of the real premium brands have. So what they do is that they have this main dashboard mold here, and they want to fit the screen here, put this inside, and this piece goes in from the front to cover it. All right, and you can see the fit and finish isn't exactly perfect, to be frank. Some of the panel alignments not 100% fantastic, but the full marks for trying. Okay, this are the control switches, hazard light, all these allow you to interact with the screen. Now you see, the thing is this cabin, the overall look and feel of this cabin is very advanced, but in actual technological terms, underneath the skin, it is actually rather basic. And and I have to give kudos to Peugeot, because even with access to, I would say, limited hardware underneath, they've made the effort to present this cabin in a fashion that is more advanced, more sophisticated than it actually is, and execute it in a properly classy fashion. Now you see, the thing is this, like for example this screen here, there is nothing overly sophisticated about a screen today, let's put it that way, but they put it here and they give it the kind of beautiful graphics, good resolution graphics. Like you see, when you dive in the functions, there isn't much in the way of functions inside here, but it's just so nicely executed that you look at this, you think it's very advanced, but it actually isn't. All right, so here, but one thing I do have to say is that despite the obvious concessions that Peugeot has made in prioritizing good design, they want to make this look really chunky and really futuristic, they have not forgotten about usability. Of course, this is the standard French glove box this large fuse box here, fine, glove box not usable, but the center console, my god, it's brilliant. See, this is a large usable tray here. This is another tray here that will take, well, a smart tag or your keys or certain smaller mobile phones, well, cup holders here, and this removable tray. And look at this, not only is this deep, see, it's all the way down to my elbow, but there's like so much more hidden space underneath here. You really can pack a ton of things inside here. Let's say if you're a lady driver, you can really sumbat your whole handbag here without problem. So you see, there are some misalignments here. This was the one that caught my eye this one could be better here. You've got a sunroof up there, but overall I have to say I really admire Peugeot for pulling this off the way they managed to make a very standard, I mean, they could have gotten away with a standard no nonsense cabin, but they didn't. All right, they pushed themselves to offer something that is beyond what most car makers would settle as a realistic solution given their hardware, and give us something that looks truly classy, truly memorable, truly sophisticated. This looks like it belongs in a sci-fi movie. Okay, so to sum up, the Peugeot 3008 here, nothing really new to report, but it is a matured product. It is a better refined product than when it started up. All these years of incremental improvements have really led us to well, just a better refined car overall. There are still some rough edges with regards to the build quality that we spotted, but in terms of the engine calibration, transmission calibration, this is a car that is something that you can use on your day-to-day grind. All right, absolutely, you know, pleasant drive. This is a car that you can go do your point A, point B, point C day-to-day thing without fuss. Now, as I said, the performance on offer, it's adequate. All right, and what really impresses me is, considering that it's a turbocharged engine, the low-end refinement, the low-end smoothness, the immediacy of its throttle response, that is something that I think is very, very well done. Okay, and of course, this being Peugeot, this being a French car, the ride is great. There's a beautiful suppleness to the ride on rough surfaces that make this a truly comfortable car to go. If your regular commute is always on bad roads, this is a very comfortable car to be in. And at the same time, the dynamics, it's definitely competent. You can use, not to say that you can use this for your toge runs, not advisable, but you know, to string a few corners, you know, to take those fast sweeping highway bends, this car very, very stable. All right, handling is good, ride is good, performance is good. But despite the obvious concessions that Peugeot has paid to ensure to prioritize design, the practicality aspect of this car is not sacrificed even a bit, and that really is the masterstroke of this car's overall design execution. So yeah, I would say definitely nothing new to report, but not much bad to report either.